He didn't actually walk on water, though many of his investors were convinced he did. He personified the successful new century developer. He was Atascadero's Citizen of the Year in 2006 and Grand Marshal of its biggest annual celebration just a few months later. But today, Kelly Gearhart has fled California and is a primary target of a multi-agency criminal investigation into both his activities and the resultant environment of government corruption he apparently cultivated. The successes he enjoyed, it would seem, were the result of a complex web of fraudulent sleight of hand, a clumsily designed Ponzi scheme, slavishly cooperative public officials, accommodating lenders, and a facilitating media. He is thought to be responsible for looting tens of millions of dollars from unsuspecting investors.
I had no idea that he was as devious as he was.
Marion Louise Warner was Gearhart's common-law stepmother and has known him for 35 years.
He wasn't judgmental of people. He was, I don't know, I thought he was a super kid, and everybody did.
That super kid would one day become a super land developer.
He did not have to follow the same development rules as other developers.
For more than a decade, Kelly Gearhart, short, stocky, slick, wooed and wowed building officials and others as he carved a multi-million-dollar development empire the likes of which San Luis Obispo County had never experienced. Gearhart rode a construction tsunami to a personal level of wealth that allowed him to acquire multiple homes and properties, jet aircraft, and luxury vehicles, and to finance exorbitantly expensive trips to Las Vegas and other gambling meccas for his friends and business associates.
He did a lot of very, very charitable things for a lot of people. But the longer I watched him do it, the more I understood that it was all for a reason, you know.
Reporter Karen Veely has been investigating Gearhart since 2007.
Kelly Gearhart, at the peak of his career, was someone that had a lot of power. He had a lot of support, not only in the city, but in the county and even in state government. He was able to mingle with people such as Senator Abel Maldonado, County Assessor Tom Bordenaro. He had a jet. He flew to Vegas regularly with some of the best known people in the community to gamble, and he had support.
As a result, Gearhart was able to ignore or erode local building codes and other regulations, pocketing over the years huge sums of money, all at the expense of local taxpayers. He had a preference for those with real influence in planning departments, and others who could surreptitiously help him finance and rubber stamp his project proposals. Remember, this is a guy who seems to have gotten his big start in life in the aftermath of a mysterious, and for him profitable, fire which destroyed those Ohio buildings in 1986. Was Gearhart involved somehow in arson, injuring 4 firefighters? His father John got a telephone call that morning.
We were laying there in bed, got a phone call, and I could just tell from what I was overhearing and what John was saying, that building had burned, or something bad had happened to the building. And I could just hear it in his voice, you know, and John was actually a pretty good liar, but I said, you son of bitches burned that thing down, didn't you? And he said, yeah. He said Kelly wanted it done from the beginning. That was the only reason Kelly got involved with it. This is a deal between him and his dad, and that was early in Kelly's business days. And you know, they were kind of throwback men.
Philanthropist, twisted genius, or just another common crook? Opinions of the man, held by people in Gearhart's old community of Atascadero, still vary widely.
Jerry Clay, who was a city councilman, and he said he has done more for this community than anyone else here. So there were many people that felt he was very important.
I really didn't know that he was, that he was doing what he was doing until he did it to me.
but there is little doubt that his dubious business practices have now called into question the professional and ethical practices of an ever-widening swath of public officials stretching from San Luis Obispo County to Sacramento. The influence Gearhart wielded, the results he eventually gained, and the circle of friends he stroked created the distinct aura and smell of Bush League organized crime.
This is known to be a very corrupt county.
Early in December, the Gearhart mulching machine claimed its first major public figure, and an eye-popping San Luis Obispo County scandal has started to boil. Gearhart and North County resident Bruce White have been friends since high school. 2 years ago, White, a successful builder in his own right, was appointed to the San Luis Obispo County Planning Commission by another longtime intimate, Frank Meacham, chairman of the Board of Supervisors. Veely recently reported on one of White's and Gearhart's business deals.
When they would do a development together, and I use one for an example, was the development in Atascadero on Traffic Way. They would make a deal with the city. We want high density. We will trade you a low-cost housing for a community benefit. But instead, Kelly would move his friends and family in, as would Bruce White. They both bought each other out of a low-cost housing unit. Bruce White moved his girlfriend and then fiance and eventually his wife into one of the units. He would stay there with her, but the unit, according to the contract, when Bruce White sold it 3 years later, should have been sold for about $166,000. I might be off just a little bit, and he sold it for $298,000.
Veely backed up her reporting by providing documentation of the transactions to Meacham. Within days, White resigned. Nevertheless, both Meacham and White continue to claim Cal Coast News reports had nothing to do with the decision.
Their claim was this had been planned for 6 months, and it was just happening. And I remember asking, are you going to have him step down? We don't know what we're going to do at this point. We need time to investigate.
If not for the spot-on reporting of Veely and her internet-based journalist associates over the past few years, the antics of Gearhart, his co-conspirators, and the resultant complex web of amoral public officials now entrenched across San Luis Obispo County would never have been uncovered.
And with the amount of people's lives who have been destroyed in this community, I think it's important that our leaders in our community come out strong against this type of behavior.